I don't know. I guess that depends entirely on you. Well, both that.
The Mask Cracks music swells. Slow, tense, documentary-style underscore. They believed they could rewrite the story once. More Kody and Robyn Brown, former reality TV's golden couple of plural faith, now sit and observe their kingdom falling from the inside out. For years, Christine Brown's peaceful departure from sister wives appeared to be closure, but off-camera, the anger never ceased. And now, fresh whispers from within Flagstaff show just how far Kody and Robyn's rage against Christine and her kids has escalated. Sources call it open war energy, war of resentment masquerading as righteousness. And at the center, Christine's independence, the one thing they can't forgive her for. The fallout begins. When Christine walked away, she didn't leave a husband behind. She walked away from a system. That was the actual betrayal to Kody's mind. He remembers decades of lecturing about unity under his leadership. Yet when one woman refused to circle around him, his pride broke. As per several sources close to the family, the aggression against Christine began in private. Whispers of her disrespect, ridicule over her new Utah life, and even a quiet campaign to keep her children out of family gatherings. Fans initially believed it was typical separation drama. It wasn't. What happened was a gradual, deliberate purge. Kody ceased contacting some kids. Robyn ceased inviting them to events. And when cornered, they said Christine made it impossible. But behind closed doors, Kody was seething. Not out of betrayal, but out of exposure. Christine's book, Interviews, an unapologetic joy shattered the one fantasy he'd spent years upholding, that he was the patriarch everybody misunderstood who had everything together. The trigger it all started all over again after Christine's sit-down on Access Hollywood, the interview that shattered the internet. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She just spoke the truth. And the truth, so it seems, is the one thing Kody Brown absolutely loathes. An insider told an Arizona publication. That interview made him angry. He said she was embarrassing him again. Robyn allegedly concurred, labeling the interview vindictive and declaring Christine had broken family loyalty. In private, that phrase, family loyalty, has been their mantra. Whenever one of the grown children publicly defends Christine, they're blamed for taking sides, but the lines were drawn long ago by Kody himself. Turning on the children, it began with silence, then with distance. Now, insiders say, it's become full-blown exclusion. Mykelti, Gwendolyn, and Aspen, once showered with attention, as model Brown daughters, have allegedly been instructed to keep things positive online or risk losing access to certain family amenities. Even humble holidays have been turned into battlegrounds. If you're at Christine's parties, you're out of Robyn's clique. One source explains it bluntly. It's emotional punishment disguised as boundaries, and whereas Christine has avoided public defamation, her daughters no longer hesitate to speak out. Mykelti recently alluded in a live stream that some people only show love when cameras roll. Viewers didn't need subtitles to understand who she was referring to. The manipulation cycle. Each time the story threatens to fall apart, Kody orchestrates a comeback moment. A poor me scene in which he says he's been cut off by his own children. What he never owns up to is why they withdrew. In private talks with the kids, Kody's conversations have become argumentative, according to family sources. He allegedly accuses Christine of poisoning the kids, claims she stole their respect, and commands them honor their father. But honor, as with loyalty, can't be coerced, and Christine's kids have witnessed too much. That's when Kody resorts to his final defense, rewriting history. He's been gossiping that Christine's exit shattered the family harmony, making him the genuine victim. It's the same narrative, repackaged for sympathy. The reality? He's angry that the narrative isn't his anymore. A dangerous dynamic. Robyn's part in all of this is hardly innocent. For years, she's presented herself as the peacekeeper, the mistreated wife, just trying to hold everyone together. but sources claim she's become Kody's echo chamber, solidifying his resentment. Whenever Christine's name is brought up, Robyn supposedly shuts it down, claiming the subject is toxic, but behind closed doors, she's the one fueling the fire, labeling Christine's book a betrayal, denouncing her for hurting the family image, and cautioning the other wives against feeding the drama. But there's just one big problem. The rest of the wives are no longer around. Mary has recused herself, Janelle is rebuilding her own life, and Christine? She's flourishing, openly, happily, and unapologetically. That joy has become intolerable for Kody and Robyn. What had been jealousy had turned to outright contempt. The tipping point behind-the-scenes sources report a recent holiday dinner party was the straw that broke the camel's back. Christine's children were allegedly not invited to a family dinner at Robyn's home, a dinner billed as a Brown family reunion. Later, leaked photos hit the web featuring Kody, Robyn, and their direct children, but no one else. When fans questioned where the others were, Kody dismissed it. Not everyone was invited when we wanted peace. Peace, apparently, means quiet, and quiet for Kody and Robyn equals domination. But as the web went crazy with outrage, the facade broke. Christine's followers inundated social media with the same slogan, "Her kids deserve better." That was the evening that Christine shared a straightforward Instagram story, a beaming selfie, captioned, "Happiness is louder than hate." The message was unmistakable, and Kody's wrath, insiders say, blew sky high. Behind closed doors, a Flagstaff insider who knows the Browns said that Kody's anger that evening shook the house. He reportedly yelled about disrespect, told Christine she'd turned the public against him, and stated he would cut ties with anyone choosing her. Robyn is said to have teared up, not for harmony, but for the cameras. And once the tirade ended, Kody's eldest son from another marriage was heard saying, "He's still fighting. Ghosts." Because that's what this has become. A fight with phantoms. Kody can't release the vision of himself as the patriarch who lost his grip on his wives. Robyn can't release the fantasy that she's the good one. And they're stuck in a cycle of resentment that Christine's liberation just makes worse. The Brown family blacklist soft hum of background, slow-ticking beat, like tension coiling up before a detonation. There's a saying among fans of sister wives, if you rile Kody Brown, you disappear. And now, new sources say, that's not just a figure of speech anymore. Because now the so-called Brown family blacklist is real. An intangible wall separating who gets to remain in Kody and Robyn's sphere and who gets dropped for good. For years, that sort of emotional restraint kept the family in check. But now it's unraveling, relationship by relationship. The blacklist begins when Christine walked away. She didn't just abandon a marriage. She abandoned an empire founded on image. And image is something Kody protects more than love, more than truth, even more than family. So when the blowback started, the first move wasn't reconciliation. It was revenge. Several insiders say Kody and Robyn started quietly monitoring who in the family still communicated with Christine. One source reportedly close to Janelle said it was like a loyalty audit. He'd ask the kids who last called Christine. He'd look at who liked her posts on Facebook. Birthday wishes became tests, too. If you dared to tag Christine in a picture, you stood to lose access to the family conversation, or worse, access to camera time. And in a family where TLC time translated to money, that was a powerful tool. Manipulation by omission. In secret, Kody's plan was easy: divide, rewrite, and reframe. If he couldn't delete Christine, he could delete her story. And that is what he attempted to do. According to one producer who spoke anonymously, Kody began pushing TLC to tone down Christine's appearances in upcoming Sister Wives specials. He reportedly called them distractions from the real family. But fans weren't fooled. The absence of Christine's storyline only made viewers ask questions, and every question became a crack in the mask. Meanwhile, Christine was quietly building her own platform: podcasts, book deals, partnerships. As Kody and Robyn held on to a dwindling reality show, Christine was growing away from it. That, above all, enraged them. Robyn, insiders say, felt humiliated as she watched Christine's fame explode. She calls it betrayal, one insider said. But what she actually means is jealousy. Splitting the children. But the most sinister aspect of this so-called blacklist wasn't about money or looks. It was about blood. Christine's children, the kids who lived under Kody's roof, are now suffering for their mother's independence. Several family insiders verify that Kody has entirely ceased contacting some of his older children. Phone calls went unanswered. Birthdays were skipped. Messages went unread. Even worse, those who are still connected with him report they're walking on eggshells, not wanting to say the name of Christine. One grown child reportedly talked to a friend. If you even mention Mom's name around him, he blanks out or goes ballistic. There is no in-between. This emotional blackmail, the us or them threat, has dismantled what little cohesion the family still had. And behind closed doors, even Robyn's kids are questioning the loyalty war. They've witnessed the rage. They've witnessed the manipulation. And some of them are quietly wondering if their father's definition of family love was ever real to begin with. And Christine's calm, Kody's chaos. What makes Kody most crazy isn't Christine's rage. It's her serenity. She isn't ranting on the internet. She isn't engaging in fights. She's baking. She's traveling. She's smiling. Living. And with every smile of hers, every Instagram update with her new husband David, the empire Kody believed he had built begins to crumble. A source familiar with Christine captured it best. He doesn't get how she can be happy without him. He figured she'd crawl back or break, but she glowed up instead. That glow is now a symbol for fans, a middle finger wrapped in grace. Because, for more than a decade, Christine was taught her value came through submission. Now she's demonstrating to the world what happens when submission is done. The PR war as Christine thrives, Kody and Robyn are waging their own covert PR battle. Sources allege Kody has been meeting behind the scenes with TLC executives, making the case for a new story that presents him as martyred. His sales pitch supposedly revolves around forgiveness and healing, buzzwords designed to repurpose his persona prior to season 20. But TLC ain't stupid. They viewed the fan metrics. Episodes centered on Christine and Janelle do better than Kody and Robyn's by more than 40%. And that's a kind of analytics that doesn't lie. Behind the scenes, producers are reportedly looking to spin off a show all about Christine's life after divorce, something that's reportedly making Robyn crazy with fear. One production insider told it bluntly. Robyn wants control, Christine has influence, and they're not the same thing. That's the power of influence that is causing Kody's rage to become desperation. Because for the first time, he is not the narrator. He's the bad guy in someone else's narrative. Secrets leaking out. And here's where things get ugly. In accordance with leaked communications from an inside source close to the family, Kody's rage conversations at home have consisted of veiled threats to guard the family heritage by revealing the truth about Christine. But Christine's staff allegedly has every text, every expense statement, every statement saved. They're prepared. A friend of Christine's publisher explained, if he comes out, she'll drop bombs that will incinerate what remains of his reputation. It's a standoff, integrity versus ego, and neither is willing to blink. Kody thinks he's defending what belongs to him. Christine thinks she's defending what is right. The next explosion. The tension came to a head at a recent court hearing, connected to family finances, the same one rumored to involve missing funds tied to the family LLC. Insiders say Christine arrived calm, professional. Kody, however, stormed out red-faced after being reminded of a six-figure, unauthorized withdrawal. Witnesses claim Robyn cried in the hallway afterward, not from guilt, but from fear of what might surface next. As one insider put it, Christine doesn't even have to defend herself anymore. The truth does it for her. The money trail. Debt, lies, and the price of control music. Cue. Slow heartbeat beneath strained piano keys. Darkening tone. We're in the Brown family's financial underworld now. Strip away the cameras. The confessions and the constant family togetherness rhetoric. And you're left with the one thing that always spoke the truth, the money. And now, the trail of money is finally catching up with Kody and Robyn Brown. Because behind every smiling family photo and every well-edited clip in Sister Wives, there were secret transfers, silent loans, and broken vows, all hidden behind the facade of faith and family. Coyote Pass. The dream that died, it all started with Coyote Pass. That huge Arizona estate that was to be the Browns' legacy, a joint dream house for every wife and every child. But what viewers never got to see was just how rapidly that dream turned into a debt trap. Kody persuaded his wives to sell their houses in Las Vegas, Mary's, Christine's, Janelle's, and assured them that their total equity would pay for the family future. But when things settled down, only a single house was ever constructed, Robyn's mansion. Christine later divulged in interviews that the women's names were quietly dropped from some of the Coyote Pass documentation. Janelle even confessed she couldn't withdraw her own money without having to go through Kody, an economic stranglehold that left her helpless. And when Christine refused to continue, contributing to the system that only benefited one wife, that's when everything blew up. The $600,000 lie Christine's book and court documents leaked online suggest something fans long theorized: a missing $600,000 from the family coffers. That money, according to sources close to the case, was tapped from equity and properties, much of it from Janelle's Vegas mansion and from Christine's share of the business venture. Kody used it to settle urgent family expenses. But when those expenses were followed, they simply circled back to Robyn's residence. Her credit cards and high-end bills marked family essentials, one former production source called Kody's financial explanations biblical gymnastics, turning moral verses on their head as an excuse for manipulation. He'd inform his wives that sacrifice was a spiritual investment, when actually, it was an economic pipeline directly into his and Robyn's way of life. And when Christine asked where the money was going, she was no longer regarded as loyal. She was regarded as a threat. Gaslight accounting. Christine allegedly kept meticulous accounts of all her contributions. Receipts, bank transfers, Venmo entries, the type of paper, trail that makes gossip and evidence. She copied it all when she left. That's why Kody's last-ditch efforts to censor her book are so clear now. The chapter he attempted to suppress wasn't just emotional. It was legal dynamite within it. Christine details the night Kody asked for $100,000 from her for family support. She refused, calling it what it was: extortion disguised as religion. That refusal sent Kody reeling. He accused her of leaving the family, breaking her covenant, and putting money above loyalty. But loyalty to Kody has always been a matter of obedience, and Christine was finally tired of obeying. Robyn's mansion, a symbol of greed. There is a symbol in every story. And for this one, it's Robyn's mansion. 5,400 square foot house perched atop a mountain of resentment. It was purchased with a mortgage that Kody would only have qualified for due to the fact that Mary and Janelle's equity were channeled through the family's combined LLC. The purchase was a betrayal wrapped in real estate paperwork, a family insider said. Robyn repeatedly assured the cameras that she didn't want a mansion and that she felt guilty about the house. But her actions spoke louder. Luxury vehicles, designer decor, personal tutors for the children, while all the other wives were instructed to be patient and trust the process. Now, fans realize that process for what it really was: control masquerading as coordination. The breaking point, the actual moment Christine cracked, didn't occur on television. It occurred quietly, when she found out that her name had been taken off a joint bank account she'd been putting money into for years. The account, previously shared for family emergencies, now belonged totally to Kody and Robyn. No warning, no discussion, just removal. That was the night Christine boxed up a box, sent it off to Utah, and valued her peace above his vows. In her book, She recounts that evening in detail. I sat on the floor with my daughter, sorting through bills that didn't belong to me, realizing my worth had been reduced to what I could pay for. Those sentences broke fans' hearts, for they weren't about finances. They were about identity. Christine had been treated as an employee within her own marriage, not a partner, and once she realized that reality, she never looked back. The public outburst fast-forward to today. As Christine's book graces bestseller lists, the world is finally witnessing what she endured, and Kody can't bear it. Each interview, each standing ovation, each post where she's smiling with David is a reminder she's thriving without him. And meanwhile, sources say Kody's finances are in shambles, overdue. Property taxes on Coyote Pass, outstanding debts on Robyn's mortgage, and a production deal pending review because of his hostile dynamic with TLC employees. One source simply said, Christine walked away with nothing. And somehow, she ended up with everything. Because her independence became her fortune, and Kody's greed became his jail. The psychology of control analysis from experts on the Brown family soap opera has called Kody's actions a textbook case of narcissistic breakdown, when a domineering individual loses control and begins to implode under the pressure of their own deception. At one point early in the show, Kody needed praise. Now, he needs revenge, and Christine's serene independence is the last thing he can't control. Robyn, on the other hand, is now the ultimate enabler, pampering his ego while quietly fueling his persecution narrative. Together, they've distanced themselves from the very family they once professed to bring together. One of Christine's kids allegedly said, "They live in a house full of mirrors. Everything they see is their own reflection, the cost of silence." The worst part about this tale isn't the lost cash. It's the silence that trailed it behind. Years went by, and Christine's children were instructed to keep quiet for the sake of the show. But silence became suffocation. Now that they're speaking up, the backlash is fierce. Kody allegedly calls their social media posts disrespectful. Robyn says it's betrayal, but Christine's kids say it's truth, and truth, as we've seen, is the one thing Kody Brown can't censor anymore. The Great Isolation. Inside Kody and Robyn's fortress of bitterness. Low hum builds, the sound of a storm gathering. The tone becomes claustrophobic, tight, and suffocating. When Christine departed, the Brown family split. When Janelle left, it fell apart. And now, what remains of that empire, originally paraded as a faith-driven family experiment, has narrowed into something small, dark and desperate, a fortress constructed not on love, but on fear. And within its walls, two individuals, Kody and Robyn Brown, dancing around each other like phantoms suffocated by their own secrets. This is the Great Isolation, the time when Kody and Robyn's venom no longer merely focused on outsiders. It was turning inward. The fortress on the hill outside, their $1.8 million Flagstaff residence, appears to be a fantasy. Broad decks, views of the mountains, a haven. But behind closed doors, say sources close to the family, it is quite the opposite. It is a bunker rather than a home, one said. They have curtains down permanently. They don't want to be watched, filmed, exposed, they explained. And in a sense, they are watched by millions. Every utterance they've ever made, every tear they've ever crocodile-typed, every inconsistency is stored on film. But what's different is the way they perceive the world now. Gone are the family gatherings, the smiles, the mayhem of children. Now there's quiet and distrust. Robyn reportedly tracks calls between Kody and his older children, ensuring he remains calm. But insiders claim she's tracking too, on who messages him, who calls, who has the temerity to mention Christine. It's control masquerading as caring, manipulation disguised as assistancing, the paranoia. Spiral people who know Kody indicate his mood swings have dramatically changed after the book released by Christine. He's bellowing one day about family betrayal. The next, he's pacing frantically around the house, convinced that TLC is editing him as a villain. Robyn allegedly fuels those fears, cooperating with his every paranoia, affirming every imaginary attack. She explains to him everyone's conspiring against him, says a source in the family, that the wives are all joining together. The kids are brainwashed by Christine. Together, they've constructed a reality where they're the only victims. Everybody else, even their own kids, are possible traitors. Cutting off the kids, the isolation isn't emotional anymore. It's physical. It's emerged according to leaked correspondence that Kody has dialed back contact with some of his adult children, citing emotional toxicity. Translation: they won't play along. Even holidays have become tests of loyalty. You're friends with Christine. You're not invited. If you criticize Robyn, you're ostracized. And if you say anything on social media that could be interpreted as disrespectful, you're deleted. One of Christine's daughters, who recently got engaged, apparently invited everyone, except Kody. Her reason? He already left. We're just making it official. That line has haunted him ever since. The script repeats when season 20 filming began. Kody reportedly demanded that TLC show his side of the story. He wanted to appear repentant, misunderstood, even forgiving. But every time cameras rolled, his bitterness slipped through. He'd talk about ungrateful kids and jealous wives. He'd accuse Christine of rewriting history, and, worst of all, he'd refer to his own children as her kids, not ours. That moment, filmed and subsequently leaked, marked a turning point. Even his brother, who made a brief appearance in one scene, felt the need to remonstrate with him. They're your kids too, man. Kody's expression froze. He awkwardly laughed, mumbled, Yeah, my kids. But damage had already been done. Fans noticed what his own kids already had learned. Kody's love was conditional. Robyn's reflection while Kody is the rage. Robyn is the enabler. Her part in the great isolation is stealthy, but lethal. She creates walls for him while making it appear like she's removing them. Sources describe her as having become hyper-defensive, particularly online. Each time a fan criticizes her role, she blocks, deletes, or sends backhanded answers regarding toxic gossip. But in private, she's the architect of domination. A current family friend said, Robyn knows how to make Kody feel like the victim. She feeds that part of him, tells him he's misunderstood, then pushes him to protect her at all costs. That protection now appears as alienation. He protects Robyn by isolating everyone else, even his own children. It's the perfect feedback loop. Her tears fuel his anger. His anger justifies her fear. And together, they closed off the world that had once adored them. The moment everything changed, it is said that in early 2025, a behind-the-scenes meeting between Kody and TLC executives did not go as planned. Producers questioned him about his unpredictable behavior, refusing to film on certain subjects, insisting that Christine's name be censored, and even threatening to leave if the network did anything with her book. The outcome? A temporary halt of filming. For the first time in the show's history, production ground to a halt during mid-season. Why? Because Kody purportedly lost control on set. Witnesses claim he banged his fist down on the table and yelled, "She's profiting from my pain!" One producer smiled sweetly and said, "No, she's finding peace from hers." And that was it. He walked out. Filming ceased, and the network discreetly started working on something unthinkable. A spin-off featuring Christine. Kody's breaking point after that encounter. Kody avoided public appearances for almost 2 months. No social media posts, no cameo videos, no public outings. Sources indicate that he was spiraling, angry, paranoid, believing Christine's memoir had destroyed his legacy. Robyn allegedly pleaded with him to remain calm, but behind the scenes, she was also falling apart. She said to friends she feels trapped, but can't escape, not without breaking the one thing she's defined her life by, being Kody's devoted wife. And now, that devotion is taking its toll. Their kids don't get to see their half-siblings much. Their house is a refuge, and each day, The internet is full of a truth they can't avoid. That Christine is free and they are not. Christine's peace while the Browns disintegrate in Arizona. Christine's house in Utah is brimming with light, laughter, and life. She's constructing a new foundation, not for television, but for her actual family. Her children drop by frequently. Her husband, David, is beaming with pride. Asked recently about Kody, Christine smiled gently and said, "He'll get it together someday. I just hope it isn't too late for the kids." It was the most serene, cuttingest dagger she ever hurled, because she doesn't require revenge. She's already victorious by deciding peace over destruction, and that peace frightens Kody more than anything. He can't battle it. He can't suppress it, and he can't strip it away. The Reckoning. When silence breaks and empires fall, audio tone. Deep bass, low thunder rolling, fading into an echo of a ticking clock. The countdown to collapse. Every empire founded on fear is bound to meet its reckoning. And for Robyn and Kody Brown, that day has finally come. Something that started as whispers, fan theories, internet arguments, sources close to the family, has blown up into something nobody can just ignore. The curtain's been drawn back, and the truth that Kody spent years burying stepped out into the light. Christine's truth. The children's truth. The truth of how a family founded on faith and devotion grew into a monument to control. Greed and heartbreak? The book that shook the family. Christine's book, My Truth Stays, was released without the blowout press tour that Kody dreads, but it didn't require one. Within 48 hours, it was all over social media. Videos of Christine reading her own words went viral. He told me to be quiet, but silence is where pain festers. So I spoke. That single quote, plain, raw, unedited, became a call to action. Women from all over the country flooded comments, posting their own stories of control and freedom. Christine wasn't merely a reality TV ex-wife anymore. She was a symbol. And Kody? He became the cautionary tale. Even TLC couldn't keep it under wraps. The network shifted mid-season, recasting Sister Wives as an epic of reclamation, presenting Christine as the phoenix rising from the ashes of manipulation. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn's scenes were cut to shreds, leaving them as shadows and wrathful, defensive, adrift. The interview that changed everything, it was meant to be damage control. Kody and Robyn's first very public sit-down since Christine's. Memoir went on sale. The interview was broadcast. But what transpired wasn't repair. It was revelation when the interviewer posed the question, "Kody, do you regret how things ended with Christine?" He laughed. Not the endearing fatherly chuckle of earlier seasons, but a bitter, hollow one. "I regret that people believe her lies," he snapped. "She's rewriting history to make me look like a villain." Then Robyn went on quietly. "We've been the victims in this too. People forget we're the ones who stayed faithful." But the crowd didn't applaud. They didn't feel sorry for them. They gasped. Because at that very moment, Christine's daughter, Mykelti, shared a post on Instagram. "The truth doesn't need defending. We watched it happen. The timing couldn't have been worse." In a matter of minutes, hashtags such as "Down Christine was right" and "Doll Kody exposed" trended globally. The legal and financial fallout. The interview wasn't the only one crashing. Court documents leaked. Weeks later showed a complete audit of the Brown family, LLC, the very same used to purchase Coyote Pass and finance Robyn's mansion. The report outlined irregular withdrawals, mishandled expenses, and unpaid property taxes. TLC's attorneys moved into action right away, seeking clarity before re-upping contracts. Privately, the producers were appalled. The patriarch of the show was now under financial scrutiny that threatened to end the franchise altogether. An inside source told, they discovered Kody had borrowed against family land without complete cooperation from all the wives. It's a nightmare, legally speaking. Christine's memoir hadn't just rekindled public interest. It had opened up investigations. The truth wasn't just raw and emotional anymore. It was financial. Documented and irrefutable, Robyn's disappearing act as the storm grew. Robyn started to withdraw from the public. Her social media fell silent, her Cameo page disappeared, and sightings of her in Flagstaff became scarce. Insiders claim she's been deeply paranoid, believing Christine's camp will drop more evidence connecting her name to Kody's money woes. In one tearful phone call, overheard by a friend, she allegedly said, "We constructed this life to show the world that our love existed. Now it's evidence of how blind I was." The cracks were beginning to appear, and even she was aware. Without the other wives, without sympathy from the public, and with the mounting debts stacking up by the month, Robyn's well-crafted persona of the loyal, bereaved wife was disintegrating. Her tears once touched fans. Now, they instigated fury, because the story had shifted from tragic love tale to facilitator of cruelty. The kids revolt, while the grown-ups warred over who got to control. The children made their bid, Mykelti, Aspen, Garrison, and Gabriel stepped forward to speak out openly, not for notoriety, but for closure. They grouped together on social media and made a statement to their followers. "We love our dad, but we're done pretending he's the man you think he is." For years, they had been silenced, told not to speak ill of their father for the sake of the family name. But Christine's courage changed that, and her truth gave them permission to share their own. In one viral clip, Garrison said bluntly, "If respect means silence, then I'd rather be disrespectful." It hit millions like a thunderclap, because fans realized this wasn't just a show anymore. It was a generational reckoning. TLC's pivot with the ratings of the show at an all-time high and public sympathy well and truly on Christine's side. TLC did something nobody predicted. They gave the go-ahead for a spin-off, Beyond Sister Wives, featuring Christine, Janelle, and their grown kids. A new chapter, a new story, and the one thing that Kody dreads most, a future without him. When Kody got wind of it, according to an insider, he blew his top. "They're stealing my family." He screamed during a call with producers, "You're rewarding betrayal." But this time, no one listened. The audience had chosen, and the network had too. The final confrontation sources say there was one last meeting, a private sit-down between Kody, Robyn, and TLC executives. He demanded they cancel Christine's spin-off or remove any mention of his name. When they refused, he walked out, declaring, "You'll regret making me the villain." But the truth is, the villain had already written his own end. Christine didn't need to kill him. He did it himself. One lie, one tirade, one cold silence at a time. Christine's redemption months later, Christine made an appearance on Good Morning America, looking lovely in a pale blue dress, serene and smiling. In response to a question as to whether she had a message for Kody, she merely replied, "I wish him peace, but I don't owe him silence." It was poetic. Final closing the book on a chapter that started with pain but finished with power. Because at the end, Kody's cruelty gave Christine her clarity. His hatred gave her freedom, and the tale that started as a polygamist fairy tale turned into a masterclass in liberation. The legacy today, the fans no longer speak of Sister Wives being a love story. They speak of it as a warning. Regarding the cost of control, the delusion of faith, and the courage it takes to step away. Christine's name has been synonymous with renewed life. Her book still tops bestseller lists. Her spin-off is the most viewed TLC premiere of the year. And Kody? He's still in that Flagstaff stronghold, seething, bitter, all but forgotten by most, tormented by the one thing he can no longer control. The truth. Because no matter how much he worked to shut her up, Christine's voice rings stronger than ever, not for revenge, but for reclamation.